My name is Elizabeth Hartman. Everyone calls me Liz. I'm 36 now, living in a quiet corner of Texas where the oil fields stretch farther than the eye can reach. That Thursday morning, I came within seconds of losing my life, my future, and the last shred of family I thought I had left. I was heading into the final meeting to settle my grandfather's estate. His oil services company, the one he built with his own hands from a single rig in the Permian Basin, was finally being divided. The will was clear, 50-50 between me and my younger sister, Brooke. The night before I'd made my decision, I was going to sign over my entire share to her, let her run it, grow it, whatever she wanted. I'd spent 10 years helping keep it afloat while chasing my own path in environmental consulting on the side. I was tired of the pull between family duty and my own dreams. I wanted out, clean and simple. Everyone showed up early that day. Brooke arrived first, dressed sharp in a navy blazer, hair perfect, that easy smile she always wore when things were about to go her way. Her husband, Derek, followed right behind, carrying a tray with 4 tall glasses of green smoothies from that fancy health spot downtown. He set one in front of me with a grin. Kale, spinach, ginger, the works. Figured me'd toast to new beginnings with something good for us. I thanked him, took the glass, felt the cold condensation on my palm. Right then, Maria, the woman who'd been keeping our family ranch house running since before I could walk, stepped into the room. She carried a stack of fresh towels like she always did during meetings, making everything look normal. As she passed behind my chair, her foot caught the edge of the rug, or at least it looked that way. The smoothie glass tipped. Thick green liquid splashed across the conference table, dripping onto the carpet. Maria dropped to our knees instantly, wiping it up, apologizing in her soft voice. But while she was down there, hidden by the table edge, she looked straight up at me and whispered so low only I could hear, "Don't drink it, mija, por favor. Trust me." My pulse slammed in my ears, but I'd learned long ago how to keep my face blank during high-stakes negotiations. I gave the tiniest nod, barely a blink. No one else saw. While Brooke and Derek were distracted flipping through the paperwork, I calmly reached over and swapped my glass with the one meant for the lawyer, Mr. Caldwell. He was too busy explaining clauses to notice. We all sat down, the documents were spread out. Brooke started talking about the future, new drilling contracts, upgrading equipment, how smooth everything would run now that it was just her vision. I lifted the untouched glass to my lips, pretended to take a small sip, then set it back down like I was savoring it. 3 minutes later, Derek stopped mid-sentence. His smile froze. He blinked hard, twice. His hand went to his throat like something was stuck there. He tried to laugh it off, must have swallowed wrong, but his voice cracked. Color drained from his face, sweat beaded on his forehead. He pushed back from the table, legs unsteady. Brooke reached for him, asking what was wrong. He didn't answer. His knees buckled. He hit the floor hard, chair scraping loud behind him. Glass shattered somewhere. Brooke screamed his name. Chaos erupted. Mr. Caldwell grabbed his phone, dialing 911. Brooke dropped beside her husband, shaking him, crying that he wasn't breathing right. I stayed in my seat, hands folded, watching. My heart was racing, but my mind was clear. One single thought burned through everything else. That smoothie wasn't meant for him. It was meant for me. If you're already hooked, wondering how deep this betrayal really goes, smash that like button right now. Share this video with anyone who needs to hear it, a friend, a sibling, someone you trust. And drop a comment below. Tell me the city or town you're watching from. I read every single one. Your stories matter too. Sometimes saying it out loud is the first step to seeing what's been hiding in plain sight. Let me take you back. Grandpa Harlan was the rock after our parents died. I was 17, Brooke was 13. Car wreck on Highway 290. One rainy night and suddenly we were alone. Grandpa didn't hesitate. He drove straight to the hospital, signed every paper, brought us to the ranch house outside Midland. No big speeches, just, "This is home now. We'll figure the rest out." Maria was already there. She'd started as a housekeeper when Grandpa was still roughnecking on other people's rigs. Over the years, she became family in every way that counted. Cooking chili that made the whole house smell like comfort, washing our school clothes, sitting with us when nightmares came. She never said much, but she saw everything. Grandpa spent his days on sites or in the office, but evenings were for us. He'd spread maps across the kitchen table, show me how leases worked, how pressure readings predicted pay zones, how to read a partner who was bluffing. I soaked it up. He said I had the mind for it, saw patterns others missed. Brooke usually stayed in the den with her phone or magazines, earbuds in, tuning us out. One weekend, he took us to the first lease he ever owned. Dry hole at first, but he turned it around. He handed me a core sample and asked what I'd do different. I talked about seismic data, offset wells. He nodded, proud. Then he asked Brooke. She shrugged. "Put in a pool, make it pretty." Grandpa chuckled, but I saw her jaw tighten. She walked back to the truck and didn't talk the rest of the day. I felt guilty. After that, I tried to pull her in more, let her pick movies, shared my allowance when she wanted new clothes, covered for her when she skipped chores. Being the big sister meant carrying the weight quietly. I never complained. Someone had to keep things steady. Grandpa noticed. Late one night after Brooke was asleep, he called me into his study. He handed me a small envelope with a key inside. The note read, "Safe behind the bookshelf. Only open if Brooke ever starts choosing money over people. Trust your gut, Liz." I asked what he meant. He just squeezed my shoulder. Family can shift when you least expect it. I put the envelope away, never touched the safe. I refused to believe we'd ever get there. When Grandpa passed at 82, heart attack, quick and quiet, I was 27, Brooke 23. The funeral was huge. Roughnecks, executives, landowners all came to pay respects. Will reading was simple, equal split. Company, ranch, mineral rights, savings. Brooke looked relieved, like the pressure was finally shared. I was already doing consulting work on the side, so I told her I'd help transition everything. She hugged me, said she'd handle operations. First couple years, I drove in every couple weeks, reviewed P&L, met vendors, walked sites. She listened, asked smart questions, took notes. I thought we were doing it right, honoring Grandpa's legacy together. Maria kept the house ready. Same recipes, same quiet way of noticing when something felt off. Sometimes she'd watch Brooke with this careful look. When I asked, she'd just say, "She'll find her way. Young ones always do." I started pulling back as my own work grew. Bigger contracts, travel to shale plays in North Dakota, Louisiana. But I always answered when Brooke called, wired money for payroll gaps, signed what she sent. Never opened that safe. Blood meant trust. I'd spent my life shielding her. Why question it now? Looking back, the signs were there. Small, easy to dismiss. Brooke's tone shifting when we talked money, quick subject changes when I asked about certain invoices, growing silence between calls. I blamed distance, busy lives. Maria saw more. She always did. The real change started when Brooke brought Derek home. She'd hired him as a financial consultant to clean up the books. He was smooth, good with numbers, better with people. Charming in that way that makes you feel seen. When she introduced him over dinner at the ranch, he complimented the house, asked about my projects, said he admired how I'd balanced family and career. I learned later his own family had money troubles years back, bad real estate deals, debt that never quite went away. Brooke mentioned it casually. He gets what it's like to fight for every dollar. They married fast, small ceremony on the ranch. I covered half the cost because Brooke said cash flow was tight with new equipment leases coming up. After the honeymoon, they moved closer to the main office in town. Brooke started spending more time there. Calls for advice dropped off. When I offered input, she'd say, "We've got a plan, Liz, don't worry." Derek came around often, always with something: fresh juice, protein bars, healthy kicks, he called them. He'd mix drinks himself, saying it helped with focus. After those visits, I'd feel drained. Headaches, foggy thinking. I blamed long flights, stress, age. Never connected it. Maria changed around him, quieter, left the room when he offered to make anything. One day I walked in and heard him speaking low to her in the kitchen. "Stay out of it, Maria. This isn't your concern." Sharp, cold. She nodded and left. When I asked her later, she just said some things weren't worth stirring up. The fatigue got worse. Mornings I could barely get up. Concentration slipped on reports I'd normally breeze through. Doctors said burnout. Rest more. I tried. Never mentioned the timing with Derek's healthy drinks. Loyalty is a hell of a blindfold. The morning of the meeting arrived. Sun poured through the big windows in the ranch office. Mr. Caldwell laid out the will folder. Brooke sat straight, eyes bright. Derek beside her, calm. I listened as the lawyer went over terms one last time. Then I spoke. "I'm signing my share over to Brooke. Full control. Company, rights, everything. I want her to build it without any back and forth. And honestly, I've been wanting to step away for a while. Focus on my consulting. Live lighter." Silence for a beat. Brooke's eyes widened. Then she smiled wide. Derek clapped once, said, "That's incredible, Liz. Truly generous." He stood. "Let me grab those smoothies from the truck. We should celebrate right." He came back with the tray. 4 tall glasses, green and thick. Handed one to me first. "To fresh starts." Maria moved around the edges of the room, straightening things that were already straight. Her eyes flicked to my glass, then to me. I reached for it. That's when she tripped. Spill, whisper, swap. And minutes later, Derek on the floor, struggling, Brooke screaming. The ambulance came, lights flashing, questions, hospital, doctors talking about toxic ingestion, stabilizing him, tests pending. I left early, drove home alone. The ranch felt too big, too quiet. I texted Maria, met her at a little diner off the highway. She slid into the booth, pulled out an envelope. Photos, dates. Derek in our kitchen, hand in his pocket, stirring a glass. Hidden angles. She started snapping them weeks ago. Suspicion first, him sending her out when he offered drinks, lingering too long. Then pattern, my symptoms matching. "I couldn't let it happen to you," she said, shaking. "Not you." I stared at the pictures, stomach twisting. The truth hit like West Texas wind, hard and unrelenting. They hadn't just wanted control, they wanted me gone. I didn't sleep that night. Not really. I lay in the dark of the ranch house guest room, staring at the ceiling fan, spinning slow circles, replaying every frame. Derek's hand stirring the glass, Maria's whisper, the way his body folded when the poison hit. The photos from Maria's envelope were spread across the kitchen table like crime scene evidence. Each timestamp matched a day I'd felt like I was moving through fog. Headaches that lasted hours, muscles that wouldn't listen, thoughts that slipped away mid-sentence. I'd told myself it was stress. Now I knew better. Around 4 a.m. I got up, walked to Grandpa's study, and pulled the bookshelf aside just enough to reach the safe. The key still fit perfectly. Inside, a thin folder labeled in his block handwriting, "Loan Docs 2018 Forward." I carried it to the desk lamp and started reading. Pages of refinanced equipment loans, lines of credit against mineral rights, all co-signed. My name appeared again and again, signatures that looked like mine, but weren't. The ink was too uniform, the loops on the Z in Hartman too perfect. I'd never seen these forms, never initialed them. Yet there they were, filed, approved, money drawn in chunks over 18 months, over $750,000, routed through accounts I didn't recognize, some labeled consulting fees, others vendor payments, no receipts attached. My hands were shaking when I finished, not from fear anymore, from anger that had finally found its shape. I called Mr. Caldwell before sunrise. He answered on the second ring, voice rough like he hadn't slept either. "Liz, you okay?" "No, but I will be. Can you come to the ranch this morning? Bring anything you have on recent loans, powers of attorney, anything Brooke or Derek touched." He arrived at 8 with 2 binders and a USB drive. We sat at the same table where Derek had collapsed hours earlier. Maria brought coffee, plain black, poured in front of us. She stayed in the room this time, arms crossed, silent guard. Caldwell walked me through it step by step. First, a durable medical power of attorney, dated 6 months ago, listed me as principal, Brooke as primary agent, Derek as alternate. It gave them full authority over my medical decisions if I was incapacitated. My signature was there, forged, same telltale perfect loops. Second, the loan portfolio, incremental draws. Each one required dual signatures because Grandpa's will mandated it for anything over $50,000. Mine appeared every time. The money trail led to personal accounts, one in Brooke's name, one joint with Derek. Wire transfers to credit card companies, mortgage payoffs, even a down payment on a lake house 2 counties over. All while the company books showed cash flow tight, and Brooke kept asking me for bridge loans. Third, emails Caldwell had pulled from the company's server backups. One chain from Derek to a banker friend. "She's signing everything over next week. Once the proxy is active and she's out of the picture, we roll the debt into the estate settlement. Clean exit." My stomach turned. Maria spoke for the first time since we started. "I have more." She pulled out her phone, played a voice memo, recorded through the cracked kitchen window 2 nights before the meeting. Brooke's voice, tired but sharp. "Just make sure the dose is right this time. Last one only made her tired. We need her down long enough for the hospital to call it natural. Then the proxy kicks in, you get control, debt's clear, we keep the ranch, sell the mineral plays, walk away." Derek's reply. "I measured it twice, it's in the smoothie. She'll sip, feel dizzy, collapse. They'll say aneurysm or stroke. No autopsy if family doesn't push. You're next of kin." The recording cut off when a truck passed outside. I had to step onto the porch to breathe. The dry Texas air hit my face like a slap. When I came back in, Caldwell was already on his second call. To a forensic accountant he trusted, to a contact at the Texas Rangers Financial Crimes Unit. We didn't rush to the police yet. We built the chain. Every piece had to be ironclad. Over the next 10 days, I became someone else. I answered Brooke's calls with concern in my voice. "How's Derek doing? Any word from the doctors?" She cried on the phone, said the tox screen was inconclusive, but they suspected bad algae in the smoothie ingredients. I told her I'd wired money for her medical bills. She thanked me, voice breaking, said she didn't know what she'd do without me. I recorded every call. Maria kept taking photos. Derek came home from the hospital pale but walking. He moved slow, still weak. Brooke fussed over him in the main house. I watched from the guest cabin across the property, binoculars through the window. Saw him shredding papers one afternoon when she was out. Saw her transfer files from a laptop to an external drive late at night. Caldwell's accountant traced more. Small withdrawals continued, expense reimbursements that went straight to personal Venmo accounts. Timing matched hospital visits. They were still spending. I met the Rangers detective in a coffee shop in Odessa, neutral ground, no cameras. I laid out everything: photos, recordings, forged documents, loan trails, the voice memo. He listened for 40 minutes without interrupting, Then he asked one question. "Why didn't you drink it?" I looked him in the eye. "Because someone who's been family longer than blood ever was told me not to." He nodded once. "We'll take it from here, quietly. No arrests until we lock down the digital forensics and get a judge to sign off on the search warrants." They moved fast after that. First warrant hit the main office. Employees stood stunned as agents carried out computers, file cabinets, phones. Brooke was there signing payroll checks. She froze when they read her rights. Derek was at physical therapy. They waited in the parking lot, cuffed him in front of the glass doors. Charges? Attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, first-degree forgery, financial fraud, identity theft, money laundering. The list kept growing. Brooke lawyered up immediately. Derek tried to cut a deal the same night, offered to testify against her in exchange for reduced charges, said she'd been planning it for years, said she resented me for being Grandpa's favorite, said the debt was her breaking point. Brooke countered the next day, flipped on him, claimed he researched the toxin online, bought it on the dark web, pressured her because she was scared of losing the house, the life they'd built, said he threatened to leave if she didn't help. The judge wasn't impressed by either performance. Trial started 9 months later in Midland County Courthouse. Media vans lined the street. Locals filled the gallery every day. Maria sat beside me in the front row, holding my hand under the wooden railing when the photos came up on the screen. She testified first, calm, clear, described years of watching us grow up, the day she decided to start documenting, the nights she couldn't sleep worrying. She never raised her voice, didn't have to. The jury believed every word. Caldwell went next, broke down the finances like he was reading a grocery list, dollar amounts, dates, forged signatures side by side with real samples, the medical proxy, the emails. The jury leaned forward when he showed the wire transfer receipts to the lake house down payment. The prosecutor played the voice memo. Courtroom dead quiet except for the audio. Brooke's voice filled the space. No one looked at each other. Derek took the stand, tried to play broken, tears, said he loved Brooke, said he only went along because she threatened to ruin him. The prosecutor tore him apart in cross, showed search history from his laptop, undetectable poisons, natural-looking heart attack, how long does oleander take to kill, showed Venmo payments labeled supplies. Brooke testified last, composed at first, then cracked. Admitted to signing my name on documents, admitted to knowing about the toxin, said she never thought it would actually happen, said Derek pushed the final dose. The jury didn't buy the tears. Deliberations took 4 days. Verdict: guilty on all counts for both. Brooke got life with parole after 30. Derek got life without. The judge ordered full restitution, every dollar traced and clawed back. Company assets frozen, then sold under supervision. Mineral rights auctioned. Proceeds went to repay loans, then to a victims fund. I walked out of the courthouse into blinding West Texas sun. Didn't look back. No last glance at my sister, no final words. The door closed behind me. Reporters shouted questions. "Do you forgive her? Will you visit?" I kept walking. Maria and Caldwell flanked me to the truck. I sold the ranch 6 months later. Too many ghosts in the hallways. Bought a smaller place outside Austin, hill country, rolling land, enough room for a proper garden, native plants, xeriscape, no grass to waste water. I started a nonprofit there, focused on financial abuse in families, inheritance theft, coercion through medical proxies. We offer free legal reviews, counseling referrals, red flag education. Stories come in every week. Sisters, brothers, parents, kids. Same patterns, different names. Maria came with me, said the hill country needed her salsa recipe. She cooks every Sunday, leaves herbal tea on the counter when I've been working too long. I drink it without hesitation now. Caldwell drives up once a month, helps with the foundation's filings. We talk about books, college football, garden plans. No pressure, no obligation, just presence. Some nights I still wake up tasting metal in my mouth, reach for the glass on the nightstand and pause. The reflex fades slower than I'd like, but it fades. I keep Grandpa's note in the top drawer, pull it out on rough days, read the last line again. Trust your gut, Liz. I do now. If this story hit something in you, if it made you think about that quiet instinct you've been ignoring, or that family member who always seems to need just a little more, then let it be a reminder. Listen to the Marias in your life, the ones who see without being asked, the ones who risk everything to protect you.
Blood can betray. Loyalty doesn't have to be born, it can be chosen. Protect yourself without apology. Ask the hard questions sooner. And if someone offers you a drink you didn't watch being made, maybe set it down. You matter. Your safety matters. Your future matters. If this resonated, hit that like button so the algorithm knows to show it to someone else who needs it. Share it, tag a friend, and drop a comment. Tell me where you're watching from. Midland? Austin? Somewhere overseas? I read them all. Your story might be next, and sometimes telling it is how the healing starts. Thanks for listening.